Imagine walking into a room and nothing changes. No heads turn, no pauses in conversation, no shift in energy. It's not your clothes, not your money, not your face. It's weight, and you lack it. There is nothing about your presence that forces the room to adjust. No psychological gravity, no silent authority. You are physically there, but socially irrelevant. But we have all seen the alternative. We have seen the man who enters a room, and the very molecular structure of the air seems to change. Conversations taper off into whispers. Spines straighten. Eyes follow his movement without even knowing why they are looking. No one was commanded to pay attention. They simply couldn't help it. It is as if he carries a private weather system of authority that chills the room and commands the light. That is not luck. That is not personality. That is aura. It is a power so deeply woven into a man's identity that it speaks with a roar before he even parts his lips. This kind of presence isn't a gift from birth. It is a fortress, built brick by brick. Machiavelli understood the blueprint. The Stoics lived by the foundation. And today, you are going to master every single layer of it. This is the transformation from being a spectator in your own life to being the protagonist the world fears and respects. Do not click away. What I am about to give you isn't a motivational speech designed to make you feel good for 10 minutes. It is a manual for psychological dominance that 99% of men will never grasp. The 1% who do, they rule in total, terrifying silence. Before we dive into the first law of dominance, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This simple act tells the algorithm that you are a man of growth, and it ensures you never miss a lesson in the architecture of power. Number 1. The law of calculated silence. The most lethal weapon in your arsenal is the one that costs you nothing to use, but gives you control over everything: silence. In a world that cannot stop talking, the man who says nothing becomes a vacuum that pulls everyone into his orbit. I am not talking about the awkward silence of a man who is shy, or the stuttering silence of a man who has run out of ideas. I am talking about the heavy, deliberate silence of a man who has everything to say but chooses to hold his tongue. This is where power takes root. Machiavelli observed that many great leaders fell not because they lacked a sharp sword, but because they lacked a closed mouth. They explained too much. They sought to be understood. They pleaded for validation. They showed their cards before the betting even began. The moment you explain yourself, you are no longer a mystery. You are a target. Every word you utter is a window into your mind. Most men leave every window and door wide open, inviting the world to walk in, map out the furniture, and find the weak spots in the walls. They leak information like a sinking ship, their fears, their plans, their insecurities. A man of power speaks with surgical precision. He does not use noise to feel important or to mask his anxiety. He lets the silence do the work that words never could. Silence creates tension. It creates mystery. Most importantly, it creates a psychological vacuum that others feel a desperate, almost primal need to fill. When you are silent, people are forced to guess your thoughts. In that state of uncertainty, they almost always project their own fears and insecurities onto you. They assume you know more than you do. They assume you are deeper than you appear. They see a reflection of their own inadequacy in your stillness. Stop defending your choices to people who haven't earned a seat at your table. When provoked, give them nothing. No anger, no witty comeback, no defensive posture, just a steady, unblinking stillness. That stillness will haunt them more than any insult ever could. A man who cannot be provoked is a man who cannot be managed. Silence isn't empty. It is a loaded weapon with the safety off. Learn to aim it. Number 2. Mastering emotional disappearance. If you want to separate yourself from the masses, you must understand this fundamental law. The man who governs his emotions governs the room. The man who is a slave to his feelings is a slave to everyone around him. This isn't just a suggestion, it is a psychological law of the jungle. Machiavelli famously taught that a leader must learn how to be not good when the situation requires it. But before you can master not being good, you must master not being readable. If someone can read your face, they own your soul. They know your triggers. They know what makes you flinch, what makes you blush, and what makes you lose your composure. They will play you like a violin until you are out of tune with your own goals. The Stoics called this apatheia. It's not about being a hollow shell without feelings. It's about the absolute mastery of the expression of those feelings. You will still feel the sting of betrayal. You will still feel the heat of rage. You will still feel the cold grip of fear. But you must never let those emotions sit on your skin for the world to study. When you are insulted, and you respond with a gaze so cold and detached that it feels like you are looking through a window rather than at a person, their strategy collapses. They expected a fire they could put out with their own words. Instead, you gave them an iceberg that shattered their ship. When the world crumbles around you, you remain steady. That emotional absence in moments of chaos is what makes a man truly terrifying. It signals that you operate on a frequency they cannot jam. You are a black box data goes in, but nothing comes out that you haven't approved. This makes you unpredictable. And in the world of dark psychology, the unpredictable man is the one who holds the leash. Number 3. Engineer your reputation with surgical intent. Here is a truth that has remained unchanged for half a millennium. Perception is more potent than reality. It doesn't matter how virtuous you are in the dark if the world sees you as weak in the light. If you do not spend time building your reputation, others will build it for you. And trust me, the world is not a generous architect. Bitter people, jealous peers, and those who saw you stumble once will use that single mistake to define your entire existence. A powerful man treats his reputation not as an ego trip, but as armor. Machiavelli noted that people judge almost entirely by the eye. Very few people have the desire, the time, or the intelligence to dig beneath the surface of your character. They see the exterior, and they make a final judgment in 3 seconds. Therefore, you must control that exterior with absolute, ruthless discipline. What is the first word people think of when your name is mentioned? Is it reliable? Is it dangerous? Is it ambitious? Or is it forgettable? If you don't know the answer, you are losing a war you didn't even know you were fighting. Start engineering your presence. Be deliberate about what you show and what you hide. Show strength when they expect a breakdown. Show calm when the world is panicking. Let your results roar, but keep your process quiet. The most powerful aura belongs to the man who is respected by everyone, but fully understood by no one. You should be a riddle that everyone wants to solve, but no one can quite crack. Number 4. Operate in the shadows, strike in the daylight. The loudest man in the room is often the most insecure. He is barking because he is afraid of being bitten. The most dangerous man is the one making moves while the world is sleeping, or while everyone else is busy looking at themselves in the mirror. Machiavelli observed a recurring pattern in the rise and fall of empires. Those who announced their plans were sabotaged. Those who concealed them were victorious. Human nature is inherently competitive and, at times, malicious. When you share your dreams, people don't usually cheer. They measure your ambition against their own failures. If your light is too bright, it casts a shadow on their mediocrity, and they will try to dim it before you can reach the switch. Move like a ghost. Work in the dark. Build your empire behind a curtain of normality. Let people assume you are doing nothing special. Let them think you are average, predictable, and settled. While they are distracted by their own vanity and their own petty dramas, you are placing every piece of the puzzle with ruthless intent. Then, when the time is right, you strike. You don't announce your arrival, you simply arrive. The results should be so massive and so undeniable that no one has time to build a defense against you. The weak man wants the applause of the crowd before he's even started the work. He wants the likes on his work in progress. The powerful man lets the finished product be the first and only announcement the world receives. Your plans are sacred ground. Keep them in the vault. Number 5. The law of strategic independence. There is a law of power that is as ancient as the stars. The one who needs the least holds the most. Machiavelli saw that any prince who relied on the goodwill of others was merely a puppet with a fancy hat. True power comes from making others dependent on you, while you remain dependent on no one. This is the ultimate leverage. You must become the man that a business, a family, or a social circle cannot afford to lose. You do this by acquiring skills, resources, and connections that are rare. When you are replaceable, you are a tool. When you are irreplaceable, you are the craftsman. But here is the second part that most men miss because they crave comfort. You must need no one. This doesn't mean you live as a hermit in a cave. It means you never allow your peace, your finances, or your self-worth to be tethered to another person's whims. The moment you need someone to feel happy or to pay your bills, you have handed them a leash and invited them to walk you. Loyalty is a shifting sand. People stay loyal only as long as their interests align with yours. If you build your house on the goodness of others, you are building on a fault line. Enjoy connections, but never be enslaved by them. A needy man is a manipulated man. A self-sufficient man is a respected man. Stop chasing people and start attracting them by becoming the center of your own universe. Number 6. The discipline of the solitary path. Most men are terrified of their own company. They drown their lives in social media, mediocre friends, meaningless hookups, simply because they cannot bear the weight of a silent room. They are afraid of the thoughts that surface when the music stops. That fear of solitude is exactly why they will never have a powerful aura. The crowd does not sharpen you. It dilutes you. It rounds off your edges until you are as smooth and forgettable as a river stone. Machiavelli saw that the greatest men in history were those who knew how to step away from the masses to refine their vision and harden their resolve. Walking alone is not a lonely path. It is a promotion. It is the time when your mind becomes dangerous because it is no longer being fed the recycled opinions of the herd. Solitude is the forge where discipline is created because there is no one there to clap for you. You are doing the work for the man in the mirror, and he is the only judge who matters. The Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius ruled the known world, yet he spent his nights in the isolation of his own mind, checking his ego and sharpening his judgment. If the ruler of Rome needed solitude to remain powerful, what makes you think you can find power in a crowded bar or a group chat? Stop fearing the silence. The man who is comfortable alone is a man the world cannot threaten because you cannot take away what he provides for himself. Number 7. Study every man, trust no man. This is the lesson that will save you from the wounds that never heal. Betrayal never comes from your enemies. It comes from the people you invited into your inner circle. It comes from the people you trusted enough to let guard down. Machiavelli's observations on human nature were chillingly accurate. Men are often fickle, deceptive, and greedy. As long as you are winning and providing value, they are your best friends. The moment the wind changes or a better opportunity arises, they look for a way out or a way to profit from your fall. This isn't cynicism, it's data. Study people like they are a foreign language. Watch how they treat those who can do nothing for them. Listen to how they talk about their friends when they aren't around. People always tell you exactly who they are through their patterns. You just have to stop being blinded by what you want them to be. Trust is not a participation trophy. It is a rare currency that must be earned over years and can be lost in seconds. A man with a powerful aura isn't paranoid, but he is precise. He keeps people close enough to collaborate and share a meal, but never so close that their failure or their treachery brings down his house. Read the room, read the man, and never mistake a smile for a commitment. Number 8. The advantage of being underestimated. There is a devastatingly effective strategy that most men ignore because their ego won't allow it, appearing weaker than you actually are. We live in an era of flexing. Everyone wants to look rich, look tough, and look smart on the internet. But the man who performs his power is actually giving away his greatest advantage. When people underestimate you, they stop preparing for you. They leave their guard down. They talk too freely around you. They ignore your movements. This is the ultimate strategic gift. Let them laugh at your quietness. Let them think you are just a nice guy or not a threat. Every false assumption they make is a crack in their armor that you can eventually exploit. History is written by men who were mocked before they were masters. They didn't waste energy trying to convince small minds of their greatness. They saved that energy for the execution. Do not correct people when they get you wrong. Let them keep their delusions. It makes your eventual dominance feel like an act of God because they never saw the storm coming. You are the hidden variable that changes the entire equation. Number 9. The 3 pillars of command. Everything we have discussed, the silence, the strategy, the reputation, is a house of cards if the foundation is weak. Your aura is a 3-headed beast, physical, intellectual, and financial. First, the body. A man who has forged his physique through pain and sweat carries a different energy. It's not about having the biggest muscles. It's about the posture of a man who knows he can endure physical discomfort. People sense that discipline before you say a word. It is the most basic, primal form of authority. When you occupy space with a body you have mastered, the world acknowledges that mastery. Second, the mind. A strong body with a weak mind is just a decorative statue. You must read what others won't. You must study history, psychology, and the mechanics of power. When you speak, your words must have the weight of a library behind them. That intellectual gravity makes people stop and listen. You shouldn't just know what to think, but how to think. Third, the life. You must seek financial sovereignty. In a world that runs on capital, a man who is broke is a man who is perpetually asking for permission. Money isn't about luxury cars. It's about the ability to say no to anyone at any time. It is the fuel for your independence. When your body is a temple, your mind is a fortress, and your bank account is a shield, you don't have to ask for respect. You radiate it. You become a total man, and the world has no choice but to move out of your way. Number 10. The Law of Legacy. We have covered 9 laws today. Most men will hear these, feel a temporary spark of motivation, and go back to their average, comfortable lives by tomorrow morning. They will continue to be invisible. But you are still here, which means you are built for something more. The final law is to become the man they write about. Don't chase fame, chase legacy. Fame is cheap. It's just attention from people who don't matter and won't remember you. Legacy is impact. It's the footprint you leave that stays even after you are gone. Machiavelli didn't write about the nice guys who followed the rules, stayed quiet, and died in obscurity. He wrote about the architects of reality. Life is a chessboard. You can be a pawn, or you can be a grand master. The choice is made every single morning when you wake up. Will you choose comfort, or will you choose conquest? You came to this video as a man seeking answers. You are leaving as a man who possesses the truth. And truth, when combined with ruthless discipline, is the most dangerous force on the planet. Now, I want to see who is truly ready. Go to the comments right now and type, "I am the storm they never saw coming." This is your contract with yourself. By typing those words, you are burying the old, invisible version of yourself. You are announcing your commitment to silence, to strategy, and to power. If this message shifted something in your soul, hit the like button so we can reach more men who are tired of being invisible. Subscribe and join this war room. We don't make content here, we build leaders. Go now. Move in the shadows. Build in the dark. Become the man that history cannot forget. The world isn't ready for you, and that is exactly how we want it.